Today, I want to share with you a strategy on how to improve Thinkahead in blind solving. How's it going, everyone? If you're new to the channel, my name's James. I'm a movement coach specializing in the brain and nervous system. A big part of my job is around improving function of the frontal lobe of the brain. That's the part that deals with focus, decision-making, ignoring distractions, and in cubing, that is the part of the brain that's most going to be active when we're dealing with things like look ahead or think ahead when it comes to blind solving. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, think ahead is basically the same as what look ahead is for sighted solves. In look ahead, you're executing an F to L pair while you're thinking what is coming next. And the idea is that while your muscles are performing the correct movements, your eyes are looking for the next pieces that you want to pair up. In Think Ahead, you've already got the whole solve memorized, so while you're executing algorithm number 1, you then need to be thinking, what was algorithm number 2? What am I going to need to do to execute it? So the second algorithm number 1 is finished, you can start executing number 2. So to help improve this, I've got a pretty fun drill that I like to use. This is something that I usually use on clients struggling with focus or stress, but it turns out that it's just the idea of think ahead in a more physical way. So I'll talk you through the idea of Rush. Rush is basically a game I play with people where you touch different parts of your body and you have to say what part of your body you're touching as you do it. So I would say shoulder, head, nose, ear, elbow, wrist, hand. Then, once people get a good grasp on it, we start to play a different version of the game called Rush Forwards. Rush Forwards is basically where you say what you're going to do next while you do the current task. So I would start by saying head, then I'm gonna do what I just said I was gonna do while calling out the next target. So as I touch my head, I call out shoulder, elbow, wrist, knee, ear, nose. This tends to be really hard for a lot of people, especially if you're struggling with focus. As a general rule, what you will see people do is their hands will start to catch up to what they're thinking about. So they'll say head, shoulder, elbow, and get themselves into the rhythm that they're more comfortable with. This can happen to blind solvers as well. If you've ever been in the middle of a solve thinking about what you're gonna do next and suddenly you've completely forgotten where you are, that is basically the same principle at work. You were thinking about the next thing, your brain decided it would be easier if you were just doing that thing right now instead of doing something else, and so it's left the previous information behind and tried to catch up to the next drill. So what I want to do now is just show you a few different ways that we can take that rush forward exercise, translate it to cubing in a way that's slightly regressed from the think ahead we need to use during a blind solve, but that takes it closer and closer to that skill as we go. So this version is just going to be a carbon copy of that. I'm going to take all of my cube notation and I'm going to play the same game. I can call out any of them that I want, and on the next step, I have to execute the one I said previously. So I could start by saying U, R, L, D, B, U prime. You get the picture. I'm executing the previous move as I'm saying the next one. I want to then build that up to get a decent amount of speed. And when I'm going to do it fast, I'm ready to level it up another step further. So next stage is just a little bit more complicated. We're going to go with a fixed algorithm. So rather than having the freedom to just say anything you want, now you have to be a little bit more consciously focused. And we're going to go through an A-perm just to see what happens. I've never actually tried this, so watch me struggle. We're going to say R prime, F, R prime, B2, R, F prime, R prime, B2, R, F, prime, no, or R2. So close. Okay, stage 3 is where we take it so it's unfamiliar to you. So in this instance, I'm going to try scrambling a cube using the scramble that's given to me on Twisty Timer. I'm going to call out the letters I'm going to solve next, and I'm going to execute them while I call out the next letter in the scramble. So here I've got R2, U, L2, R2, U2, F2, D, U prime, L prime, B, R2, D prime. I keep thinking that I'm doing this and that I'm just inversing all the letters, and it's not helping very much. F, L, D, L, B2, D2, L prime, and then that final L prime. Let's see how close I got. First side, good. All right. Takes me less time in comps to verify these. Ugh. What is that? No, here we go. Hey, cool. Next up on the Thinkahead journey, I'm going to be using a cool website that I just discovered called custombld.net. Okay, this is a website where you can put in loads of different parameters for your scrambles. So if you just want to practice certain letter pairs, maybe you want your buffer to always be solved so you can start working on floating. Maybe you want to have only edges scrambled when you're doing the solve. It's really, really cool. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. One of the other cool things it does is when it shows you a scramble, it also shows you the solution in terms of the letter pairs that you need for that scramble. So I'm just gonna scramble this one up. So for this one, I'm going to be calling out the first letter pair that it's given me for the solution. So I haven't had to deal with the memo. I'm just gonna read what it's given me. Call out the first letter pair, execute the first letter pair while calling out the second letter pair, and let's see what happens. So we've got AE, BK, JG, cool, okay, RS, JL, VL, and just to complete that VL. Cool, so final stage after this is really just doing it as a blind solve. So that's what your blind solves look like anyway. As you're executing the first pair, you want to be thinking about the second pair. If you did want to have an intermediate step, it's always easier to say stuff rather than think it. So saying the next letter pair out loud might actually be a good way to break it up. But that's pretty much it for the exercise. This one's probably not going to be necessary for everyone. If you find Thinkahead isn't something that is difficult for you, then you probably don't need to worry about this. As you can see, this is not something that I've actually incorporated into my solves. One, because I kind of feel okay with Thinkahead in general. Two, because I haven't found this website up till now. So definitely check out custombld.net if you want to get some cool ideas for different techniques and scrambles. If you are finding things like focus or look ahead or think ahead is something that's difficult for you, exercises like this can be really, really good at kind of bridging the gap. So rather than trying to get from A all the way to Z really, really quickly, you can have some little stepping stones in between that help get your brain up to the level of function that it might want to be at. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think, what you thought of it, if there's anything you would like me to cover next. Otherwise, I will thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.